Hi, and welcome to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. My name is Bill Moore. I'm the founder of Food Truck Training Group on Facebook, co-owner with my beautiful wife, Melissa, of our own food truck. It's called Food Truck 101, and I'm the executive director of the National Street Food Vendors Association, which is a nonprofit dedicated to education, advocacy, and uplifting all food vendors. All this week, I'm talking with Matt Selick. He is an executive chef, an all-around great guy. He's an entrepreneur. And today we're going to be talking about a small menu. Before we get into that, I want to remind you guys I'm going to be in Orlando, Florida. That's November 12th and 13th of this year. I want you to please come check us out. I'm going to be a part of the Food Truck Owners Expo. I'll be giving 3 classes. I'll be doing a panel discussion. I'll be kicking off the campfire networking sessions. I'll be in the Street Food Vendors Association booth where you guys can sit down and come talk to me. So it's going to seem like I'm everywhere. But where I want you to be is in Orlando, November 12th and 13th. Place the order for your tickets today, and when you do, put in the code FTTG15 for a 15% discount. Definitely appreciate you being here. A couple of things I want to touch.
I'd be up for doing more of these too, by the way. I love this. This is great.
We'll definitely do more because you have a perspective that a lot of food truck owners need to hear because you have that educational background. You know, that's something I've always wanted to do was education. And the way that I've done education was through being a corporate trainer. You know, so I always had to follow whatever the rules were at that particular corporation. But anyway, with the food manager certification, one of the things that I've noticed, again, continuing our conversation, food truck owners tend to work with 1 or 2 people in a lot of cases. They'll have the cashier who will collect money and then turn right around and start making food without doing the obvious thing, which is wash your hands.
The 3 most disgusting things in the kitchen are money, cell phones, and putting your hands in your pocket, which is pretty much the same thing as grabbing your cell phone. If the toilet seat is cleaner than your cell phone. Our phones are absolutely gross. I mean, if you want to have a phone out in your kitchen to take live pictures of your food, to promote like, hey, we're about to open, we're on the street corner, you know what? Put a sheet of plastic wrap around it so you're not actually coming in contact. Make sure you wash your hands and then put gloves on to handle the phone. And then wash your hands when you take those gloves off. Gloves don't replace hand washing, which is another thing that people don't think about. They think, well, I've got gloves on. I don't need to wash my hands. Actually, that's not how it works.
Oh, you're right. I mean, how many times have we seen somebody who has gloves on pick up a broom to sweep and then go back into making food?
Back in 98, I used to do a lot of butchery at a lot of different restaurants in this restaurant group I worked at. And this one particular one, there was this Russian guy named Dean. So I would see Dean walk off the line, walk over by the chef's office, pull a cigarette out, light it up. He had gloves on the whole time. Smoke his cigarette, gloves still on. Go over, wash his hands, gloves still on, and then walk back online. Now, this is before food safety was quite what it is today, but I just remember standing there going, am I the only one seeing this?
Am I the only one noticing the problem here?
Hey, chef, did you catch that? Like, dude, what are you doing? Yeah, it was pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
I'll tell you the food truck example. Melissa and I went to a Food Truck Friday event. And all the food trucks are swarmed over. So we pick one. As we place our order, we go sit down on the curb and wait on the food to get made. And I notice somebody opens the back door. Now, there's 2 propane tanks by the back door. So the guy has the back door standing wide open, lights up a cigarette right next to that propane tank. And I'm thinking, what about speed of service? You know, the heck with you being filthy dirty standing outside your back door smoking a cigarette where people can see you right beside a propane tank. What about the speed of service? Because now, you know, we're still waiting on you, Grandpa, to go finish, you know, cooking our food. And people were walking all by that food truck, and it's like, do y'all see this? He's getting ready to blow the food truck up, and y'all are just walking casually by like it's no big deal. It's amazing to me what people notice but don't react to, or don't notice at all. All right, awesome. Let's get about a few more minutes till either your phone dies or time runs out, one or the other.
Okay, that's cool. Hey, I'm down for doing more of these, man. And if you want to do specific things, like talk about a specific item, if you want me to cook on these, I can do that. I don't care, man. This is fun. I like hanging out with you anyways.
Well, I appreciate that. We may do one where you cook. Let me think about that because there's some things that, like, for instance, showing a food truck owner how to organize their grill or their griddle so that they can actually put food out quickly. You'd be surprised how many can't do that. And when I tell them, hey, you can put that stuff in a straight line, they look at me like I've shared some dark secret that no one would ever know. You're allowed to organize your grill. You don't have to look like
you've got to change. You've got hot spots. They naturally occur on every grill and on every griddle, and you utilize those to prepare your food. You get a sear on the hot spot. You kick it over to the side if it needs to go well done, and let it come up a little bit slower so it's not re-searing your meat or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, those are all important things to do. And in fact, to become successful as a line cook, you've got to understand those hot spots and how to work them.
100% you do. And then you've also got to be able to multitask.
Oh yeah.
You know, if you got 5 orders up, you probably should have a little bit of food working on all 5 of them, if not all of the components working, so that you can get those orders
But
out.
you have to do it right. And if you're not doing it right, you're going to crash and burn and die. So you
Right.
start to take small steps down that path before you decide, hey, I'm going to jump in the deep end. Well, dude, you can't swim.
Well, yeah, you know, it's just those little simple things that people have got to learn. Like, you know, at Shoney's, we taught our line cook when to drop the food. If
Right.
it comes from an animal that walks, you want to drop it quicker than you would from one that swims or flies, because those two would cook much faster.
Absolutely. And then, another thing is, there's nothing wrong with having a small menu.
No, there's not.
For instance, if I do great barbecue, right, and I do a better pork shoulder and sausage than anybody, then why the hell am I going to do anything else?
Exactly.
The word on the street is that my shoulder and my sausage is better than everybody's. Great. To hell with the rest of the stuff. They're coming to me for pork shoulder and sausage. There's
Put a
nothing
couple
wrong
of
with
sides
that.
on it to make it a complete meal and a couple of drinks, and don't do anything else.
Yeah, yeah. Make sure your drinks come in a container that's already closed that you can either put ice on or not put ice on. Your world.
Yep.
Don't go pouring. Pouring just creates a whole nother batch of issues. You can buy, like in Michigan, we have a brand of pop, and I'm going to say pop because there are 2 pops in the world. There's Faygo Pop and there's Werner's Pop, and they're all both from Detroit.
Right.
Everything else is soda. I'm with you on that. Everything else is soda, but Faygo and Werner's are pop, and I can get those cheap. I can get those for like 35 cents a can here. Well, hell yeah, I'm going to go sell that for $3. And you know what? If it gets warm, it doesn't skunk out like beer.
No, that's true. It doesn't. I didn't know that Werner's was from Michigan.
Oh yeah,
because they make
it's the only ginger ale.
Yeah,
it's the only ginger ale.
My dad loved that, and that's the only ginger ale that I'll drink even today, because it actually tastes like ginger ale.
Don't breathe it though.
It will get your nose, that's for sure.
Whoo, yeah. But I tell you what, it was growing up. It was the everything cure. You have a headache, here, have a ginger ale. You have a stomach ache, here, have a ginger ale. And I'll tell you what, man, it works. It works.
It did. Like I said, that was my dad's favorite ginger ale, and that's the only one I'll drink today. When I have that hankering for a ginger ale, we have to go to the store and get that particular brand. And if they don't have it, then I do without ginger ale.
Yeah. When I went to school in New York, every time I would come home, everyone would give me orders for the pop to bring back.
Yeah.
Faygo's got a couple flavors that are very distinctly them, like rock and rye and their red pop. Those are my 2 favorite Faygos. And frankly, the rock and rye with the pizza is heaven. It's absolutely heaven.
Really?
Yeah.
I can see
so it's a red pop. Yeah.
Yeah. I can see that.
Absolutely. But they're cheaper. They're local. And if you're not selling local, you're stupid. I'm sorry.
I agree. You have to have something on your menu to let people know that you're supporting the local economy. And some things you're just going to have to get because your local economy doesn't produce it. Get what you can.
That's correct. Like in Michigan, we have a company called Pioneer Sugar. In Michigan and Ohio, they're at. It's cheaper, and it's all from beet sugar because that's what we grow around here. We don't have sugar cane.
Right.
It's cheaper. It's local. Why wouldn't you use it? Part of the issue is people don't realize it's local. That's half the issue with local. People don't really understand what is local. I know Pioneer Sugar is because I know where the refinement plants are. So I only use Pioneer Sugar. And you know what? I pay $1 less for every 10 pounds I buy.
There you go. And all that goes straight to your bottom line.
And every food item, every person you pay, every piece of equipment as an owner or an operator, you need to look at as a dollar sign. That's how you make money.
So explain that, talking about equipment. How would you look at that as a dollar sign?
Okay, well, if I buy a fryer for $2,000, right, the bare minimum I need to do is get at least $2,000 worth of food out of that. But then when I think about it, I got to calculate my food costs. So at 20%, so let's say $2,400. Now I've broken even on that fry as far as what it can do for me. That's like nothing. That's a good piece of equipment to have. I can make way more money on that. And then on top of that, when I talk to my accountant gets all excited and goes, oh, we can depreciate that. So that counts as a loss. And that counts against what the government can tax you on, right? And you need to look at that fryer and understand what it is. That's what it is. It's something that can make you money. It's something that can save you money. And if you look at it as that thing, you are going to take care of that thing. You are going to know how to work that thing. You're going to keep that thing clean. You are going to love that thing. And anytime you want to buy another piece of equipment for your kitchen, you want to see it do the same thing that first thing did. That brings me money. I only needed to make so much to make my money back for that. And I did that 5 years ago, and I'm still rocking off this thing. In fact, I can't even account for depreciation anymore on the thing, and it's still going because I loved it and took care of it.
And that is a big key that food truck owners need to understand is taking care of equipment. We have a bigger challenge because our equipment's moving, so it's always vibrating. And we have a lot of issues with pinholes, for example, getting into copper, where they have copper lines running, Freon and other coolants. So we end up wearing out stuff way quicker than certainly a restaurant would. But on the other side of that, if we actually took care of it better, we would extend that life more than the average food truck would. They also got to buy quality too. And a lot of food truck owners do not buy quality to start with. So in some cases, they're lucky they get a year out of it.
And that's another thing that goes to what I was just saying. Like, if I need something to make me money, if you don't have the money for it yet, then set up your game plan. Just because you just woke up one day and said, I want to have a food truck, doesn't mean it's going to happen at the snap of a finger. You got to start setting up your game plan. And if you come at it with a plan that is measurable for success throughout the plan, because you need to be able to measure success, especially when you're in the middle of the plan. It's kind of like when you're kayaking, you get in the middle of the lake, it feels like you're not going anywhere until all of a sudden you get close to shore again. You're like, oh yeah, I'm moving at a good clip. Shore's coming pretty quick. It's the middle of the lake, man. That's what kills us because we feel like we're not going anywhere.
Right.
And that's where people give up. But if you have a game plan and you can hit a certain spot, like if there are buoys all over that lake and I cross a buoy, I know I've made it this far now. And that has an amazing effect on our psyche when going down a long path, especially one that is extremely full of doubt, which owning a business is.
Oh, yeah.
Any business. And in our industry, even more so.
Yeah, our industry, especially as food truck owners, is easier to get into and get started. But I think it's more difficult to become successful than a restaurant because we don't have that. People can see us and find us easily. Every restaurant that I've ran and the ones that I've owned were much easier, I felt like, comparatively than, the hot dog carts or the food trailers that we've had, because you're always having to bring new people in. And that's, kind of counterproductive when you're used to people get accustomed to you as a restaurant because they know where the heck you are and they can find you. They come to you.
Right.
All right. Tomorrow we're going to wrap up this interview with Matt, and we're going to be talking about it's kind of crazy when you operate a food truck. I want to thank you guys for listening today. If you like what we do, please subscribe to the podcast. If you love what we do, show a little support for the podcast. There's a link in the description to make that happen. And until tomorrow, you guys have a profitable day.